Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning. It's Jamie, and I wanted to take a minute to talk about buying back a covered call at a higher premium than what you collected. Now, that's kind of a mouthful. I don't know if I'll be able to put that in the subject, but that is the subject matter. That is the topic I want to focus on and stay on task and not deviate from. And I mentioned before that these videos, I tend to jump around, and I'm going to try to just focus on one specific thing for 5 to 15 minutes depending on what it is. So let's talk about it. I had a lot of feedback and comments on one specific video. Especially it was a video I did in November, I think it was October, November of last year, about selling covered calls on Tesla. I would assume the reason why I had so much response was that Tesla is a very highly traded, be it stocks or options, company. So I like trading Tesla myself, very much so. But because of the volatility, not just because I like the company, Tesla, but it does offer you a lot of opportunity to make money or also potentially lose money. So when I sell a covered call, I'm using Tesla as the example, but keep in mind this can apply to any stock that you decide to buy 100 shares or more, right? Like, for every 100 shares, you could sell an option contract. So I'm going to do my best to just verbally explain this. If I have time, I will put some illustrations in, but for now, I'm just going to try to do a good job of illustrating this verbally. So when I sell a covered call, I collect a premium, and let's just use an example of what that looks like. Let's say I sell one that is 2 years out. Now, typically I do between 1 and 2 years out, expiration date, and those premiums are usually pretty big, right? They're usually anywhere from 2,000 up to 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. I mean, I've seen them. They, depending where your strike price is and how far out it is. So, but typically $5,000 to 6,000 is pretty average. So if I collect a $5,000 premium, I'm not going to lose it until I buy back the contract, right, that I sold, or I let it expire, or I could roll it as well. So I guess there's three things you can do. You can roll it, buy it back, or let it expire. If it expires, you're going to keep the premium no matter what. You're just going to lose the shares if it goes over your strike price. You'll retain the shares if it stays under your strike price. My average cost that I'm using is $140. So if I set a strike price of $200, 2 years out, I mean, the chances of it hitting $200 are pretty high that it's going to hit $200 and go over that is what I would guess. So I do not want to wait until May of 2025, right, to sell my shares, or to wait for the contract to expire. So the chances are in the next day or two or week, when there's some volatility to the stock, I'm hoping it will drop, and then that premium that I collected will go, say, from 5,000 to 4,000 or 4,500, for example, because when I buy it back, it is going to be cheaper than what I paid when I sold the covered call. So that's the strategy that I try to take. It doesn't always work out, and in the case point, the question that I was asked is, well, what happens when it goes higher? Like when the premium goes from 5,000 that I collected, if I want to buy it back, it goes to 5,500. If it goes to 5,500, it's going to be really tough, right? How do you make a profit? You're going to take a loss. And you don't want to just wait, because what if it doesn't ever come back down, and then you don't want to lose your shares of the company? You're like, well, if I don't want to lose the $500, then I have to either wait until I either have to wait until the share price comes back down, or I have to wait till it expires, or I can roll it out. If I roll it out, then if it's May of 2025, I have to wait a few months or give it enough time where I can go another month or two further out to roll the strike price out further, even if it's the same strike price, or I can go higher or lower. Then that just buys me more time. I could raise the price from 200 if I said, I don't want to sell it for 200. I want to sell it for 210 or 220 or 300. Just understand that you're still going to take a loss because it's going to probably cost you money to do that. So it's almost unavoidable for you to be able to not lose money if it doesn't drop at some point. If it doesn't drop, then you're not going to be able to make the profit and the delta and the difference between what the premium is from what you collected. So why would I want to take the loss? I would take the loss because I'm not trying to take up, I'm never going to wait 2 years or a year. I'm just not. I'm going to either take the loss like I would in a trade that I was swing trading. And if the price has gone up that much, then the chances are that I could just sell the covered call again. Now, granted, I lost the 500 in that example. I lost $500 because the premium went from 5,000 to 5,500, and I bought it back. So I gave him back the original 5, and then it cost me another 500 to release my shares to do whatever I want with. Now, if the share price went up, I mean, I might have, if I'm going to sell those shares, I might have offset that loss because the share price went up, you know. And if I was to liquidate those shares, then I'm like, well, I went from, you know, if it was at 195 and it went to 205, I am going to make the difference between 195 and 205. You know, regardless of what I own them for. If I own them for 140 or 150 or 160, I still made a difference of 195 to 205. So even though I took a loss of $500, I'm still going to make the profit, and I'm still going to make the profit in selling the shares if I was to do that. But I don't do that either. I would sell another covered call because now the price is even higher. Either way, you run the risk that it could keep going up. And if it keeps going up, then again, you are going to see the premium go from $5,500, where you're like, well, I got the $5,500 premium. And it's not exactly this way. Sometimes it's off a bit. But generally, they follow tandem pretty close. But if it was $5,500, then I'd say, well, I'd sell it again. I'd sell the covered call for $5,500. Now, I don't lose the $500. I collected 55 instead of 5. Well, if it doesn't go up, again, you do. Let's say it keeps running, it goes from 205 to 220, right? I mean, who knows? It could. I've seen Tesla, you know, again, it doesn't have to be Tesla. I've seen Tesla move 12 points, 14 points, 6 points in a day. So if it goes up, then you got to understand you're right back at square one, because now that $5,500 premium might become $6,500, and then you're chasing, right? So at some point, you're just basing it on probabilities and all the things that are going on. You're not going to, it's just impossible to be right. The only time you could be right is if you hold the shares and you don't sell covered calls. That way, if the price does drop, you're like, oh, it's down. Okay, well, next week it might be up. Oh, it's up. Well, are you selling the shares? No. Well, it's going to come back down. So the price is going to change, but it's not going to affect you because there's no expiration date. Now, that's why a lot of times why I go really far out, because I don't have the pressure of, oh, I only got a week, only got 2 weeks or a few days, right? I have a lot of time to wait till it can make some moves, some changes, and then I'm really just trading against myself because it's a matter of patience. But if you were trading a shorter time frame, if your option contract was to expire in a week or two, you can again just roll it out. But it's unavoidable to completely not guarantee, at least, that if the price does go up when you're selling a covered call, if you're going to buy it back, you're going to take a loss. So if you buy it back and you pay a higher price, you're going to take a loss, but you can sell the covered call again to try to offset that, you know. And if you feel like, well, I didn't think it was going to go this high, but it did. And then it's a matter of time frame. To me, the worst thing is the shorter time frames, because if they expire in the shorter time frame, then you're forced to roll the option out. And if you don't want to roll it out, then you're going to have to sell the shares. Some people don't care about selling the shares. They're like, just sell the shares, I'll buy back. The only reason I prefer not to do that is for the shares that I'm trading, that I'm not generally dollar cost averaging. I'm just like, I mean, it's not come back down to 140, 139. So I would prefer to keep 100 shares, just 100, at that 139, because I can keep flipping them anywhere above that. And if I can make a couple hundred, 500, 1,000, whatever I can throughout the month, I'm happy to keep those core shares, as I call them. And if it does drop below, then I would probably add another 200 shares like I had previously done. But I haven't seen it get that low again. And it might, but it might not. There's a difference between your investment strategy of saying, I'm just holding these shares for 10 years versus, hey, I trade these shares, I'm willing to lose them. And there's nothing wrong with that either. It's just your own personal preference. So anyway, I hope that kind of explains what why I would buy back a higher price premium than I collected. It doesn't always work out the way you hope, but neither does trading. If you're trading a stock and you have stop losses, which to me the algorithms are always going to find, but if you set stop losses and you said, okay, I bought it at this price, then, and if it goes to that price, I'm willing to let them go. So whether it's a mental stop loss or an actual one that you set into your brokerage. So when that happens, you lose the shares. Oh, I lost 1%, 2%, right? Or whatever the percentage is that you were willing to lose. And you try to do it over and over again so that even when those triggers get hit, you're still making more money than you're losing. Your win ratio, your win rate is higher than your loss. It's really not much different with trading these options, because in the times I do buy them back, it still doesn't equate to the times I got it right and I did make a profit over what I lost, meaning buying back the covered call. So it's kind of the same thing. I only like Tesla as one of them because those premiums are so much higher and there's so much volatility. So it just tends to work out better for me. It's not financial advice. The last thing I want to mention, this one will be almost 50 minutes, is when you do sell those shares, like if you do hit the expiration date and you're cool with it, just keep in mind if it's a higher strike price versus a lower one, like meaning below your cost average, which you can do, or just slightly above it. If it's 140 to 200, for example, regardless, you are going to make $6,000 in that example, because you're going up from 140 to 200, so 60 points is going to give you $6,000 plus whatever the premium was. So if you're comfortable with that, then certainly it's not a bad strategy. It's not a bad strategy either. It's just usually to do that, it's just so far out, you'd have to be incredibly patient, or at least willing to tie up the money for the longer period of time, because I don't know too many options that pay you $5,000-$6,000, you know what I mean, plus give you that kind of spread where it's going to expire in just 2 weeks to a month. But you might, and if you do, let me know. I'd love to check it out. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. That is my input on buying back a covered call at a higher premium than what you originally collected when you sold the covered call. All right, see you guys next time. Bye.